Captain Beckman drew a stylized portrait of the orangutan which resembled a man more than an ape and reflected the local attitudes towards the ape. The natives, he wrote, do really believe that these were formerly men, but metamorphosized into beasts by their blasphemy. Yeah, he looks like an ape, but looks like a man. This wiry proboscis monkey, extending its arm as if in greeting, was drawn by Frank Marryat, who described it as a male very young, and with the nose more or less prominent, giving in his face a more actual resemblance to that of a man that I have never seen. This is a proboscis monkey, drawn by Frank Marryat. Alfred Russel Wallace adopted this baby orangutan left on one of his journeys and tenderly cared for it. The ape apparently loved being washed under a tap, although it would use so little at first of the rush of cold water and make sickly wry faces while the stream was running over his head. Here's the baby orangutan Alfred Russel Wallace adopted. Many 19th century naturalists made it to the point of climbing Mount Kinabalu, which soon became famous for outstanding variety of its wildlife. The ornithologist John Whitehead was no exception. When he first visited the mountain in 1887, it had already been explored by botanists, but for the zoologist, Whitehead wrote, it was as at a virgin field. On his first visit, he proudly recorded having collected some 300 birds, 18 of which were new to science. He had made smaller collections of reptiles and insects, many of which were also new, and wrote up his finds in his book, The Exploration of Mount Kinabalu, from which these illustrations were taken. Whitehead's catches included a munia top, a flower-catcher warbler middle, and a minula. See all these birds? These two extraordinary lizards, the swollen-headed male in the foreground and the smaller female behind, were brought to Whitehead by Dunson Halper, who had caught them in a rat trap. And there's the male, and this one's the female. One very handsome species in Whitehead's butterfly collection was this pale swallowtail, which he drew from 2 angles. Eight iridescent colored beetles were among the magnificent new centonias that the naturalist collected back in his camp. Here are these beetles. Jungle traveling was a hazardous experience then as now. One hair-raising expedition in search of the wild forest peoples took place in 1878 when the Swedish ethnographer Carl Bloch made a 70-mile journey traveling mainly by river through several dangerous and his troublesome Dayak tribes. His first tormentors were not the head hunters he had led to expect, but the voracious mosquitoes, which he wryly noted, did not get a feast of white man's blood every day. When the rapids made canoeing through possible, he had to march through the jungle, and this involved crossing some large rivers. He did so by means of felled trees or slender bamboo bridges on which an anxious buck would say to sway to and fro in the center of such manner as in the duck seasickness and giddiness. Finally, he met the chief of the cannibal Dyaks, a man who, as Bach wrote with paranotable hyperbole, had fresh upon his head the blood of no less 70 victims just slaughtered and whose bands and brains he had eaten. One of Carl Bloch's detailed sketches shows him and his heavily burned Crowleys crossing the rapid Menegan River by means of a large tree trunk which he had been felled for the purpose. See that? The expedition. Glistening limestone, sculpted ages ago by subterranean waterforms, forms the roof of the Gonmontrans cave in North Saba. Bat guano litters the floor. There's bat guano. You mean? Near the mouth of the cave, a white-bellied swiftlet appears too big for its nest of moss, grass, and lichen fastened to the rock wall. But in fact, the large size of the nest enables the weak-legged bird to become airborne with its mini Munma fort. All it has to do is roll over sideways, and as it drops, spreads its long wings. There's the white-bellied swiftlet. Close-up look at it. A naked bulldog bat hanging from a branch inside a cave mouth above displays its freestanding tail, clinging toes, and two thumb claws. This species of bat has a pig-like face below, and thick folds of oily, flaking skin where parenthetical earwigs nestle and feed. And there's the pig-like face. And there's the bat clinging on to things. A branch. A fern frond about to unfurl its leaflets. A fan-shaped Alocasia matricularia leaf. Fern frond spotted with spore cases. A Glashia fern branching into new stems. Nib young leaves with drip tips. A brilliant ceiling wax palm. Sun-dappled leaves of Brytholium. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below if you enjoyed this book. And join me in my next video where we explore Cactus Country.